Hope everyone is having an amazing day. We're going to get started here at about 11:30 talking about managing capital projects, and specifically we're going to be talking about executing we're going to talk about the executive summary. So that is today's discussion on the CapEx IndustryCast. So looking forward to talking about this. I kind of geek out on capital projects, a little bit of a nerd as it relates to that. I mentioned in the description that I've personally been involved in over 500 capital projects at this point in my career. Can't believe that for 26 years I have been involved in capital projects and involved in engineering. So lots of lessons learned there, and that's why I created Capital Project Mastery, was to try to help our customers and others that are involved with managing capital projects to avoid some of the mistakes that I have seen, that I have actually participated in creating those mistakes or having those mistakes throughout my career, specifically when I was involved at Cummins Engine Company as a manufacturing engineer. So today we are going to be discussing the executive summary, and this is a key aspect of managing capital projects. So as we do every Wednesday at 11:30 here at CapEx, we go live because our goal is to pour into our customers and to do what we can do to help provide any lessons that we've learned along the way in our manufacturing careers, and specifically as it relates to capital projects. We've got a lot of experience managing capital projects, being involved in capital projects, so we want to share that experience with our customers so that they can avoid some of the pitfalls and mistakes that we have made throughout our career. So again, today's discussion is going to be about the executive summary, and this is essentially a summary that you want to create to provide to your management team as well as to your internal team so that they are always up to speed with the status of the project. And the goal is to keep it evergreen. We'll talk about that as we move along, but it can help advance your career as a manufacturing engineer and specifically as a project manager as well. So let's rock this out. Okay. All right. So first of all, a little bit of a commercial to talk about what we do. So at CapEx, we represent ATC Automation. They are out of Cookeville, Tennessee. 85% of their business is with repeat customers every year. Amazing company. And if you are involved at all in any capital equipment, you know that that is a remarkable track record. So when your customers come back time and time again, in the automation world, you're doing something right. Cincinnati Test Systems is the largest leak test company in the world. Started working with them back in 1994 when I was a wet behind the ears engineer at Cummins Engine Company. So I've been involved with them for a long time. Wonderful company with lots of technology out there to help leak test and function test. Duquesne Plastic Joining, they are a global and diverse plastic joining company. Hot plate welding, vibration welding, ultrasonic welding, anything welding, joining of plastics, that's what they do. Symetric is a part of Cincinnati Test Systems. They have high-speed in-process test and data management. 2 or 3 weeks ago now, we had a representative from Symetric on our call, and we talked about data collection. We talked about Industry 4.0 and the management thereof. Keller Technologies here in Fort Mill, South Carolina, they are a comprehensive industrial air filtration solutions company. All right, again, we're going to talk about the executive summary. Now, this is an aspect of, so what is it? All right, it is a 2 to 4 page summary of the project. Why does it matter? So it saves time. It saves time for your management team whenever they want to get an update as to the status of the project. Maybe they're going to go report to the board of directors and they need something to help provide them with a summary of what's going on. It saves time as far as that communication effort for them. It saves time for your internal team to help them get up to speed or always be up to speed with what is going on with the project. It increases the management accountability, and that's a key aspect of this. I've seen many capital project managers in my career, so project engineers, manufacturing engineers, get thrown under the bus by management. Say something's not going right, the project is late, it's delayed, it's over budget. There are any number of challenges that we run into when we're trying to manage a capital project. And if management is not up to speed, and say they're being held to account by the board of directors, they could, and I've seen this, throw the manufacturing engineer under the bus for causing the problems. But in reality, the problems were that management wasn't responding. The management wasn't helping provide the resources necessary to properly fund the project or provide approvals or provide parts for debug and runoff. So if we are continually communicating in and through this executive summary, it is an opportunity to prevent getting thrown under the bus, and again, keeps everyone up to speed. So it helps us to hold management accountable, and it's also an evergreen communication tool that we're going to use, because I'm going to encourage you to update it at least on a monthly basis. So you update this executive summary and then share it with your team up and down the proverbial food chain. All right, so the benefits to the CPM. It differentiates you amongst your peers. So if you use this tool, it will differentiate you amongst your peers. The reason is because you're providing your management with a useful set of information. And this is going to help them manage the business better. So if you are doing that, that's called managing up at some level. So you're going to provide that information. It's going to differentiate you because nobody else is going to do this. It is easy to do, right? So what is easy to do is also easy not to do. So this executive summary is easy to get up to speed or keep updated after you have completed it. But a lot of people will not have the discipline or the willingness to continually update this document. It also serves as a point of reference. So it's a reminder to everyone involved with the project as to its status, right? So it's a point of reference or reminder for everyone if they are responsible for aspects of this document that you've highlighted, and we'll get obviously into the details as far as what you want in the executive summary. And then all stakeholders stay on the same page. That's key. What often happens is these projects get started, there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of communication in the beginning, and then you get about a month, 2 months into it, well, it gets a little long in the tooth, right? Everybody has moved on to other things, but you as a project manager are still managing the project on a day-to-day basis. So if you keep this up to date, you are able to keep everyone on the same page through this regular communication so that people don't lose interest, or if they do lose interest, you're still pinging them and keeping them up to speed with the project. So here is what we want to put into this executive summary. So we want to put the why. Why is this project necessary? Really important. Doesn't need to be, you don't write a book here, right? This could be 2, 3, 4 sentences that explain exactly why the business is going to benefit or is in need of this particular project. It is a reminder, hey, here's why we're doing this, here's why we're doing this, here's why we're doing this. We've got to constantly be reminding people as to why this is important and necessary for the business. When, so this is the next aspect, the critical milestones and an explanation as to why these milestones are important for the business. Again, we want to keep everyone up to speed and reminding them of why we're doing this and when it needs to be implemented. How? So we want to do a project overview and vision of a successful project. We talked about that as we were setting the tone for capital project mastery. It's really important to create a vision for the people that you are going to be executing this project for. Internal, below and above and around. Everyone needs to have that vision as well. Who? So the ideal resources to assist in the project. Who are the ideal resources to help you execute this project? It's important to include that in the executive summary. We're going to have a summary of risks. Very, very important. It's critical that we have a summary of the risks that everyone needs to be aware of and keep front and center during this project. The financials, what is the initial ROI, the financial justification, and the estimated payment timing. So your CFO or the accounting folks really want to know when they're going to have to shell out the funds to pay for this capital project. Generally in a monthly or a quarterly, you want to find that range and let them know when that is. So where in the facility? What is the proposed location? So if you work in a corporate environment, then you're going to say, okay, we're going to put this in Columbia, South Carolina, or we're going to put it in Puerto Rico, or wherever this project's going to go. It's good to include that in the executive summary, again, so people get a vision of where it is going. And then you want to have a signature list. Who needs to approve this project? It's important that, again, from that accountability perspective, that all those people remain on the distribution list for this executive summary. All right, so that's the contents. So we're going to talk about each of those individually now. So why? So let's say it's a new program. Maybe there is a safety issue that you are dealing with that must be addressed with capital funding. Maybe you're going to, so why? Maybe it's going to be increased efficiency. So this is what we all want in our business, right? So the more efficient the business is, the more profitable it's going to be. And that's often the most important reason to invest in capital equipment, unless it is a new program, that's going to increase overall revenue for the business as well. But we want to reduce labor. So that's going to lower our cost per unit if we're able to more efficiently utilize our labor. We want to increase our output. So we're going to reduce the cycle time and increase our output. Therefore, we generate more revenue and hopefully profit as a result of increasing our outputs. We want to reduce scrap or rework, so that's going to improve quality. So we're going to have happier customers, but also we're going to reduce our costs so that we make the business more efficient as a result of reducing the scrap and rework. And we're going to reduce downtime. Again, the more uptime, the better the output, the more efficient the operations, the lower the maintenance costs. So there are a myriad of benefits to reducing equipment downtime. And also just your business runs better when it's not continually being disrupted. And you can't even put a price on that for sure. So product design changes. Let's say you had a product design change. Now you're going to need to address that through changing the tooling on your equipment, and so that's could be a why as to why you are justifying this project. And then last but not least is your customer uplift. So this happens sometimes. Chrysler has a program and they say, well, we need 100,000 a year, and then the demand for the product goes up, or maybe they're going to start using it on another platform, and they say, gosh, the demand's going to go to 150,000 units a year, so you need to obviously invest in that equipment that's producing the product so that it is able to provide the appropriate amount of product. So that could require, or could be the why. Okay, next is the when. So when is this going to happen? You want to make sure to note the appropriate milestones for the project. So when is the RFQ going to be completed that you're going to share with your suppliers and vendors or vendors? Funding approval. When does this funding need to be approved? Really important. If you're going to do an executive summary, tell them when you're going to need the information, when you need their approval. And again, it's not that you can hold them accountable, but there is a level of accountability when you've clearly articulated, hey, I need this information by. Really important that you do that, again, so you don't get thrown under the bus. Supplier quotes due. So when are you going to get the quotes back? You're going to submit the RFQ. You're going to tell the board, hey, we need the funding by this date, and then here's when we're getting the quotes back. Here's when we're going to select a supplier. Here's when we're going to issue a PO. Here's when we're going to debug and run off parts. Here's when we need the debug and run off parts for this equipment. The supplier factory acceptance test, that's what FAT is going to happen on such and such date. The on-site runoff or the site acceptance test is going to happen on such and such date. The customer milestone, so when is your customer expecting you to have the PPAP? When is the start of production for your customer? Things such as that. It's important to note all of those critical milestones in this executive summary. Again, the goal here is short, sweet communication about everything related to the project that someone would need to know or have as a point of reference, as opposed to referencing a 30 or 40 page document that you've submitted for their approval on the project overall. So the executive summary, this is the how section. So how will this help your company? Really important. If you are a project engineer at some level, you're going to sell something. You are selling something to your management because you want them to execute this project. You want them to provide funding for this project, rather. So how will this help your company? Oftentimes, the company benefits are going to be just what we talked about earlier. Increased revenue. So you're going to grow your revenue. You're going to increase your market share. Very important. Let's say you're going to take on this new product. It gets you into a new market, and that allows you to begin to capture market share there. Or maybe you're going to take market share from one of your suppliers, one of your competitors. And then it's going to improve your reputation with your customer, and it's going to allow you an opportunity to differentiate yourself from your customer. Again, this is often we want to get our management excited and our team excited about why we are going to execute this project. And then the customer benefits. So the customer benefits are quality, delivery, pricing, reputation. These are all benefits for your customer, right? So you want to communicate in the executive summary, hey, our customers are going to benefit because of the increased quality that they can share with their customers. Better delivery. So we are going to be more reliable in our delivery of this product to the customer, and that's going to allow them to be more, their operations to be more efficient and effective, more predictable. Pricing. So because we are able to produce this product more efficiently, we're able to offer a more competitive price for our customers, and our reputation is going to improve, but our customer's reputation is going to improve through the increased product reliability and quality that we're providing. So, and then for your business, what are the long-term benefits for your company? I know this sounds like a lot, but it's really important that we get clear and we help our management understand, again, how this is going to benefit the company long-term. Okay, so continuing on the how, we talked about vision casting, how important it is that we share that vision. So we want to provide a preview of the completed project. What does it look like? And I've got a sample of that here in a minute so you can see what that looks like. What does it contain? So vision casting says you want to make sure to communicate that reputation benefit that we just talked about, the increased credibility maybe that's going to increase your credibility as a company with or in the marketplace. It's going to make you more efficient in your operations. It's going to be, maybe it's a technology advancement, so you can boast to your customer and to the market about how you are utilizing technology to produce a better product, to be more efficient, to help them, ideally to help them, and so not so much patting ourselves on the back as a supplier, but what you want to do is tell your customer, what the benefits are for that business. Okay, overall impact for the company, again, how's it going to impact the business? Why vision casting? Again, this is an opportunity for you to differentiate yourself as a manufacturing engineer or project engineer. It is also an opportunity to show the future state of your business, so this you can leave your mark on your company with this effort that you're working through, and it helps you move through the financial approval process more quickly. So this is one of the bigger challenges that the engineer and project engineers that I have worked with over the course of time is getting approval efficiently. So if you can provide a vision for the project in an executive summary, it helps the management team see what they're going to get for the monies that they're going to invest. Remember, like we talked about on the very first call, your management team has a fiduciary responsibility, and that's just a fancy word for saying that they are financially responsible for your company, for the funds of the company. So they need to use those funds in the most efficient manner possible to maximize the return and profitability to the business. That's their responsibility. So if you have a project that's going to help them meet their goal, then you want to make sure that you provide that in detail in this executive summary. This also helps you with increased management support, right? So if you're providing this information in the executive summary, if you're helping them cast that vision, they're going to take that vision and they're going to share it with their customers. They're going to share it with the board. They're going to share it with everyone in the organization, again, to drive an improved and even better reputation for your business. So here's an example of this vision casting that you might consider, or some of these elements that you would have in there. So when this project was successfully executed, again, we're talking about the future. So when this project was successfully executed and launched, our customers received the highest quality products our company has ever produced, and here's why. We launched on time. Our company was acknowledged by our customer as the best in class to work with amongst all suppliers. The suppliers we selected to work with on the project all demonstrated the highest level of professionalism and integrity. They delivered when they said they would and never missed a milestone or commitment. That's the kind of supplier you want to be looking for, right? The equipment is a showpiece for our company and will help us win new business in our target markets. We were under the available budget. 1 year from launch, the equipment, 1 year after launch, the equipment will be producing 1,500 assemblies per day with 0 ppm and 75 or better OEE. The OEE is allowing us to achieve our target product profitability. Overall, this was the most successful product launch our company has had in its history. We will leverage this launch success to ensure future success, right? That just means we're going to document lessons learned and we're going to continue to get better over the course of time. I know it sounds like hyperbole, and us engineers tend to not drift toward that hyperbole type of talk, but again, it's about vision casting. It's about selling your vision for this project and advancing your career as a result of that. Okay, so who? So you want to include this in there as well. So we talked about building the dream team, right? So who is ideal? So the ideal team members help you ensure success in your projects. So who in your organization is best qualified to support the project? Which quality engineer are you going to work with? Who's the maintenance liaison that you want that has the best experience and will help you ensure success on this project? Operator liaison. So the operators, if they're going to have to operate the equipment, you want someone that's representative of that group to help get feedback in the design process. Production team. So who is the production team leader that is going to help in this project? Who's the product engineer that is going to help provide you with feedback on the product with regards to assembly, maybe specifications, and different product critical information? And then who is the safety coordinator? Really important that the safety coordinator be involved, because otherwise they come in at the end and they have an issue with everything you've got in your product or your project, and you've got to make a lot of changes, and that's expensive. Purchasing support, really important that you've got direct and indirect purchasing support. We've talked about it multiple times, but you've got to have the appropriate parts for debug and runoff in order to ensure that your equipment is operating properly and most efficient when it gets into your facility. Material support, packaging, logistics, those kind of things. Who's going to be working on that? Who's going to be representing that group on this team? All right, moving forward. Very, very important. This is one of the most important aspects of this executive summary, is knowing the risks. So what is a known risk? This is anything that has a high probability of compromising timing or could impact financials. Those are the two things that are your number one responsibility as a project manager. Timing, budget. Timing, budget. That's it. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff that goes along with it, but you want to make sure that you are managing the risks associated that compromise the timing, because that's going to compromise your ability to recognize revenue and cause problems for your customer potentially. And then on the financial side, if you have a financial justification that's based on a specific dollar amount and you go over, you exceed that dollar amount, now the justification that you've used to get approval for this project is no longer valid. So it's important that you keep an eye on those two things, timing, financials, timing, financials. So again, your number one responsibility, I'll beat that, keep just talking about that every day, day in, day out, is from a project management perspective, very, very important. Okay, risk priority. These are the priorities of these risks, right? What is your ability to influence the risk? Number two, funding approval. So if it's going to affect timing, really important to understand that. The product design not frozen or approved. How often does that happen? I know in the automotive world where we operate a lot, it is always a situation where we're up to the deadline on getting something moving forward, but the product design has not been frozen. That creates some challenges, of course. If you're building capital equipment, you're trying to produce tooling for a product that is not solid. It can create some challenges for you. Timing and financial. So debug and production component availability. When are they going to be available? That's a risk that we've got to know. We've got to be thinking about and talking about all the time. Equipment availability. So if you're going to do an upgrade internally, say you're going to integrate a new piece of equipment into an existing assembly line or into an existing process, you've got to have the equipment available to do the upgrades and modifications. And oftentimes, if you're producing parts, it's really challenging to bust into that, and because that stops revenue, right? When the equipment isn't producing product, it's not producing revenue, and that can create some logistical challenges and obviously financial challenges and any number of challenges for your business. So it's important that you're communicating. Again, these are all talking points and things that we got to be having discussions on a regular basis and keep at the top of our list. And then program delays. So financials and timing as well. All right, motor or not. So here's an example of how you might document a known risk. So here's the issue. The product design has not been frozen. There are ongoing discussions with the customer regarding some of the product changes being considered due to performance concerns. Product engineering is not certain when the solution will be fully validated and implemented. Well, that's a risk, right? If you're going to build a piece of equipment, you need to have that product frozen, because if it's continually changing, that's going to impact your equipment. So there's cost and timing associated, and that's what is weighing in the balance. So the risk, timing and budget are at risk with the product design delays because we are unable to wait until solution before launching our suppliers. So the action. So what's the action? It's really important that if we complain about something or we highlight something, that we have a solution. We've got a path forward. Or if there is a request that you're making of someone specifically, maybe your management team, hey, we need help here. So in order for us to solve this problem, we need you to intervene. So the action is I will continue to monitor changes and participate in product calls with the customer. We will move forward with the project, doing our best to minimize exposure to design changes for the product during design, right? So that is a very common strategy that we take whenever the product is not frozen. So here's another one, financial justification. So we want to make sure that we've got our financials in here. So here's just some highlights that we want to put in. What's the proposed budget for this? What is the expected ROI? So the first month of revenue recognition, when are you going to start making money with this new program or project that you're launching? The project net income, year 1, year 3, year 5. What's the return? What's the benefit? Again, we're talking about revenue growth and profitability. That's what your executives are really interested in and looking for. Obviously, safety is the number one thing, but other than that, it's revenue growth and profitability, efficiency. So expected program end date, when's it going to be done? When's it going to be completed? Estimated yearly cost of ownership. Really important. This is something we often leave out in the project management world, capital project management world, is we calculate up the cost of the equipment, but we don't talk about what is it going to cost us to actually operate that equipment each year. So it's important that we have that and keep that top of mind. What are the number of full and part-time headcount going to be needed in order to operate this equipment? And then so what is the cost of the labor on a maybe a weekly or a monthly or a yearly basis? So those are some of the key aspects that you want to include in the financials. Here are some common mistakes. We're going to wrap this up. We exaggerate the return, right? So in our executive summary, we exaggerate the benefits to the business, we exaggerate the return of profitability to the business. So it's important that we keep that in check and not oversell. Because if you oversell and you've got it documented, then you're the one that's going to be in hot water, right? So keep that in mind. Don't get thrown under the bus. Unrealistic implementation timing. I know, we all do this, right? We say, oh yeah, that product or that project's going to take us 2 weeks. And then 2 months later, we're still struggling to get through it, right? So it's important that we have a realistic timing, and that involves not only you estimating it, but you want to make sure that you are talking with your suppliers and making sure that they have taken into account any long lead items or any other processes that are unknown. You want to document that in there as well. So not honestly stating the obstacles and risks, really important that we document those obstacles and risks. Now, the reason I think is because we are scared to communicate to management or give them any indication that maybe we're not as competent as they think. But really, this has nothing to do with competence. It's about communication. And the most competent amongst us are the best communicators. So you want to communicate any concerns that you have. Get the risks out there. Even if it's something you can deal with, you can manage yourself or not, you need to put the risks out there so everyone involved knows what's going on. So don't be shy from communicating the risks and challenges that you expect. Poorly articulated vision, again, casting the vision for the project, so helpful in rallying the team, getting the team energized and excited about the project that you are about to embark on. So not taking the executive summary seriously. So what we talked about, again, it's easy to do, but it's easy not to do. So once you get it completed, again, 2 to 4 pages, it's a very simple outline, highlight, high-level stuff that you're going to update every month, maybe every 2 weeks. You want to be looking that over on a regular basis and sharing it with everyone involved. You don't want to bog people down with the information that you're sharing, but you want to keep them up to speed. Again, that communication takes away excuses. We're going to talk about that in Project Management 101, or I call it blocking and tackling. So that is those are the common mistakes. All right, that's it. We just wrapped up IndustryCast for today. The next one is on June 17th. We're going to talk about building the ideal team. We noted that a little bit here today. We talked about quality engineers, safety engineers, operator representative, maintenance representative. So we're going to go in depth as it relates to how to select the ideal team for managing your capital project. Thank you. As always, we cannot thank our customers enough for the opportunity to serve you each and every day. So if you're in South Carolina, Mike Dorsey is the man. Chris Mullins is in Eastern North Carolina and Eastern Virginia. And then Adam Hooper is in Western North Carolina in some select accounts in the South Carolina upstate. So that wraps it up today. Vicki, Adam, were there any questions at all?
No questions on here, Russ, for now, but like you always say, if there's any that come up later on, don't hesitate to email us or get in contact with us directly. Happy to answer and help out how we can.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a lot of customers that watch this after the fact. They're not able to join us live. And so we've gotten several questions over the course of time asking about specific aspects of this communication. So again, appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have an absolutely amazing week, and we're going to see you all next week. We'll see. Maybe we'll go handlebars next week as opposed to this goatee. All right, everyone. Have a great day.